Hi, this is Ms. Weimer from the Blue Water Middle College. I'm here to give you the video summary of the first success session for first year students, and that was held last Friday, September 6th. And for those of you that are getting this because you missed that session, you'll find that we really covered a lot, and there were a lot of things that we did in this session. So this will be part of a whole long email that lists what you need to do to make that up. For those of you that are just coming here to refresh your memory on things, I apologize because there will be a lot of wording and points that will be mainly for people that weren't there, so you'll kind of have to sift through some of that. So our agenda was, every time we have success sessions, we start with some news and announcements. We talked a bit about the difference between high school and college. How do you know where do I stand right now in my class, like grade-wise? We talked about how to get help, where to go for that. And then a big piece of this is planning for our next success session, updating your EDP, which I'll go through, and then kind of an overview of the SC4 degree programs, since that is mainly what we're going to be talking about in the next success session. Also, you may have received an invitation for Remind. We want everybody to be using that. You have to be getting the updates, but these updates and reminders aren't going to replace the need to check your email. So you need to be checking your SC4 email. Those of you that have not sent me your email from orientation, I've been checking in with you, but overall, most stuff that I'm getting is coming from SC4's email, but there are still a handful of you that are sending me the email from the default email that's on your Chromebook. That's bwmc.sccrisa. That is not your SC4 email. So the SC4 email you would access through the portal. So if you don't know how to get to this point and you're not checking your email through this, it is really super important that you come into the Middle College office and let one of us help you figure this out. We're going to be sending everything to your SC4 email as well as the SC4 people. So that BWMC that's the default on your Chromebook can be a great personal email if you want to use it, but that's not where the information is going to be sent to. So another way to make sure that you're getting the information is to sign up for Remind, and you would text this number with, this is the classroom code, so at BWMC11. So these are kind of important dates. So last Friday was the end of week 3, which means you have 13 weeks to go in the semester. Early alert grades are like a progress report grade, which we talked about at orientation. Those will be, well, they're due to be posted on Monday, September 30th. Sometimes your instructors are a little slower with it, so we should know kind of that Monday or Tuesday where you stand grade-wise. You should know right now where you stand, though, as far as your grade in your specific classes, and we're going to go through kind of how you can calculate that. The future success sessions, a big part of like the second one, there's going to be a whole bunch of options, and we're going to go through how you would choose which one and how you will schedule which one you want to do. And then session 3 is where we teach you how to register for classes, and it is something, both of these success sessions 2 and 3 are required that you attend in person. So there is not going to be a video summary like you're looking at right now for either of those options. It is extremely important information, how to choose your degree and how to plan your classes and how to actually register. And so you have to be at one of these in person, and we give you a ton of options for both sessions. Winter registration opens on Monday, November 4th, which it actually usually opens at Sunday night at midnight. We do have students that will stay up and register Sunday night at midnight. The withdraw deadline for the semester is November 29th, and I believe that's a Friday. It's usually by close of business that day, and we'll talk about kind of how that works, but nobody should be really worried about the withdraw deadline at this point. But as you can see, it's pretty far out there, so there's a lot of work that could be done to get yourself in a better position before that. And then final exam week is December 9th through the 13th, and then the semester ends on the 13th. Your final grade should be posted that following Monday, and we would show you how to do that. We're going to show you that when we show you how to register. All of your books are due back here in the office by December 19th. If you do not get those in here on time, and that would be all of them, so if you have 2 of your books but you only bring 1 of them in, if there's even 1 missing, then that's going to count you as being late, and you would have a $25 late fee. And that continues to go up the later you turn things in. So it's really important that you get those in. I would recommend just come in after your final exam this week of the finals. Just come in, drop your books off, and then you're going to have a great long winter break. Parent orientation. So this is kind of the parent version of what you guys went through with the orientation, but as you can see, much shorter. It would be an hour and a half, and it will be kind of where we're going to give your parents some information about just kind of what to expect, and just sort of how this whole thing is going to work. It'll be a really condensed version of the stuff that you guys got, and the options are there. Monday, September 16th from 6:30 to 8 in the evening, or we have a day option if that works better for anybody. That's Wednesday, September 18th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Emails were sent to your parents last week, but if you, so please ask your parents if they got that. If they're not receiving emails from us, please send him their email address. You can just email me that when you do the success session homework, but just somehow, some way, get us an email address for your parents. We're going to have some college campus visits over the next couple of months, and this is the most that we've ever had. So, and actually, well, you won't get this in time, but Northern Michigan University is here on campus today as I'm making this on Tuesday the 10th. But the future visits that we're going to be making will be at Oakland University Tuesday, September 17th, Eastern on Friday, September 20th. The following Friday, the September 27th, we'll be at the College for Creative Studies, and we'll be going to Central Michigan on Wednesday, October 23rd, and Michigan State on Friday, November 8th. Mrs. Barr sent everyone an email with this information, and I think she has actually sent repeated emails because she keeps getting new information and as schools confirm dates. So if you have any questions, she would be the person to contact, and you can call her at 810-989-5835. And again, that's Mrs. Barr is the one that's kind of in charge of getting all these together. But if you're planning to come to one of these, check your email, and she had a link to a Google form for you to sign up. So go ahead and do that right away, because we need to know that we're going to have enough people to make this happen. So if we don't have enough people, then we would have to cancel it. So if you're interested, let us know as soon as possible. Okay, so this is just kind of a reminder that our office is here. You all got to hopefully stop here during orientation, either with the tour and or this is where you picked your books up, somewhere back here. All of us are in offices here and here to help you, and then there's a whole bunch of space here for you to relax. The computers that are over here are set up to our printer, so you can print for free in here, and there's just a whole lot of comfy furniture that we keep adding to, and yeah, it's a really quiet place to work because people don't take as much advantage of it as you would think. So I know it's kind of a hall and on the other side of campus, but it is a nice quiet place. So if you're looking for that, stop on by. Okay, so work in general. I know a lot of people are working, and that is awesome. But you have to really, really be careful to balance it like properly and make sure that you're prioritizing your classes. So if you are not passing classes with good grades, then the money you're earning now isn't going to really do a whole lot for you. So if you have a job or you're going to be getting one, make sure that your manager knows your priorities, and if they don't allow you to put school first, get a new job. I absolutely agree with this. So the money that you're going to save by getting good grades in these classes and potentially being eligible for scholarships later on after the middle college is going to be tens of thousands of dollars and nowhere near what you can be making right now at your part-time job. So working is awesome, having money is awesome, learning how to balance your time is awesome, but be very, very careful with it, and let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so we're getting into the point where some of your classes may be starting to get difficult. You might have started to have your first test or your first paper, and maybe it didn't go so well. So if you are in this boat, or whenever you do get into this boat, and you start to find that things are getting difficult, contact one of us as soon as possible. Come into the office. You can just stop in. If you just stop in, Mrs. Lawson can maybe put you in touch with one of us. We might be able to help you right then and there, or if we're not available right that moment, we can set up another appointment for you to come back in and talk about things in more detail. But definitely come and see us, call, email, whatever it takes. So you should also need to keep going to every class. Don't skip, and don't just kind of put your head in the sand thinking that it's going to get better, or you just can't deal with it. You have to deal with it and just keep going, and I promise that it will get better. Talk to your instructor and ask them for help if it's something with the content, or ask them, hey, how can I improve my grade? What is my grade? We're going to talk a little bit about how to keep track of it, but sometimes they don't really give you great feedback, or maybe you're not getting your papers back or your tests back, and you really kind of don't even know where you stand, but you just know that that test didn't feel like it went well. So you really need to talk to your instructor and find out where you stand and get help from them as far as the content or not understanding things. This is also the Achievement Center, Writing Center, Math Center are all the tutoring opportunities that are here on campus. And before we're going to let you do anything, we're going to ask, hey, have you talked to your instructor and have you gotten tutoring? So this is really super important. So as you can see, we're saying withdrawing from a class is not an option. There are serious consequences with it, and there's a whole process that we're going to make you go through if you come in and tell us that you want to withdraw. And then it's not always going to be approved. If we don't see that you're doing the work, then you're not going to be allowed to withdraw. You're going to have to just take the E or whatever it is that you're earning. So let me just show you quickly. This se4.edu/tutoring is where you're going to find all of the information on how to get a tutor. So I'm going to click over to that. So that se4.edu/tutoring brings you to this page that shows the hours for the Achievement Center, Writing Center, Math Center, where they all are, a phone number, an email if you have questions, although it's going to be hard for them to answer questions when you say, I don't know how to do math, or I don't know how to do political science. You're going to have to go in there and show them what you're working on. So this has just kind of the general information. This link here has a specific schedule. So you can go here and see, okay, so who's available, where they are, when they're available, what their hours are. So if you go into one of these tutoring centers and you work with Callahan and you're like, oh, he's awesome, he helped me so much, I want to make sure whenever I go get tutoring, I want to meet with Callahan. So you can go and look at his schedule by the person. You can also filter by the class. So if you are in, let's say, a business class, as you can see, that sort of narrow down when your options are. So if it's that first business class that you're taking and you're having trouble with, these are the opportunities that you have, and these are the tutors and when they're available. So, and it kind of shows week by week. Let's see, so that's a good way to look. That would be basically the best way to kind of search that out. So, and then that can also be linked to from the portal. So if you were just in the portal and couldn't think of that very easy se4.edu/tutoring, you can also go to student resources, and there's a whole bunch of stuff actually at this link that might be worth checking out. So just general information, but all of the support for success is going to be where you can find a whole bunch of stuff. So there's things about the tutoring here that'll bring you back to that schedule. How to schedule an advising appointment once you're ready to do that. And you probably won't use a whole lot of this other stuff. Scheduling a retake for your AccuPlacer, you would do that with the testing center. But I think it's worth kind of going to this student resources page sometime that you're in the portal and just kind of look around and see if there's anything in there that would be helpful for you. Okay, so back to our presentation. Basically, if you are struggling, come and talk to one of us as soon as possible. So you're a couple weeks in and realizing that things may be very different between high school and college, and just being aware of those differences is really super important. So one of the things that we kind of had everybody think about on their own, and then we shared as in a discussion, are just what are some of the early differences that you're noticing between high school and college classes? How are the expectations of your college instructors different? And what types of things are you being assigned, and how are you tackling them? So these are questions that we want you to think about and write a response to in the email for your homework. But it's really important that you start recognizing some of these differences, and hopefully that you are. Okay, so the other side of being aware is just kind of knowing where you stand and knowing how you are actually doing in your classes. So we went around that during the session and asked how many people actually know their grade right now in both of their classes, and very few people raise their hands. So that's sort of this first adjustment to college and not having Skyward or not having kind of online ways to check your grade. And it can be very misleading because some people do have some stuff on Canvas and they think that's just their grade. So it's really important that you know where you stand, you keep every single thing that's returned to you. Talk to your instructors, but you really have to have a good idea of where you stand. Okay, so we gave you a little handout that had two different grading scenarios listed on the front and the back, similar to actual classes that middle college students are in. So we had people work together. Those scenarios, the two scenarios, are listed in your homework email. So go there and you're going to read through there and you're going to solve those problems. And I'm going to very quickly go through the answers. So you can come back here if you need to check your work, but I really recommend you try to figure that out on your own. Okay, so here's a little comic or whatever about the syllabus. So you are probably noticing already that your instructor is referring you to the syllabus a lot. So a lot of times they're going to ask, what do we cover in class? What's your late homework policy? When are your office hours? How will my grade be computed? All of that stuff is in your syllabus. So if you don't still have that, you need to ask a classmate for another copy. And if you have any questions about how to track this stuff, bring in your syllabus and show us, and we can kind of help you figure this stuff out. You should be saving everything that's returned to you. Save emails, save everything. You may eventually start to run out of room in your email, especially if you are in a class that's using Canvas a lot, because you may have noticed you get notifications every time you submit an assignment, every time a grade is put in, just like every single thing. If you start to get an email in your SC4 account, it's going to tell you you're running out of room, basically. If you start to get those emails, you can either just go through and clear those out. If there are things that you're thinking, well, I think I should still keep that, but it's taking up way too much room, send it to your personal email or wherever it is that you have a little bit more room. If you are in an online class or you're submitting stuff on Canvas, even if you're in an in-person class, and you're finding that you're submitting stuff but the teacher's not getting it, or whatever the case, if you're having trouble with things, start taking screenshots of every time you submit them so that you can show later on, like, well, I submitted it, it said that it was confirmed, and now you're telling me that it's not there. So that can be, all of these are ways to kind of back up what you're saying. Like if you've submitted something and you've done the work, but somehow aren't going to get credit for it, it's not going to be fun. So if you can just justify or show that you've done it, then that may help you a little bit if ever needed later on. Okay, so academic planning is what we're going to start. We started a little bit with this on Friday's session, and our next two sessions are going to be a huge piece of this. So the number one way to make sure that you're going to get your associate degree by the end of your 13th year is to really plan thoughtfully and then make sure that you're doing the work and passing the classes. But a lot of times people are doing the work and passing the classes, but they just didn't choose the right classes, and so they're still not finishing on time. So we're going to be bugging you about this every single semester. Every time you go to register for the next semester, you're going to be reminded of some of this stuff. But it's really super important that you do this. So solid planning depends a lot on having clear goals. And for most of you, that planning is going to start today. But some of you already have those clear goals in mind, but you just kind of don't know what it takes to get there. And that's what the next session is going to be about. But what we're talking about today is kind of how you figure out your goals if you don't already know them. So what is really helpful to know is if you know what career that you want to pursue, and if you know what SE4 degree is going to get you to that career goal. So the EDP is something that you're going to fill out. That's an attachment that was on your homework email. And that's going to help you fill in like what careers you're thinking about, what schooling it's going to take to get to those careers, and then what you need to be doing at SE4 for the degree in order to get there. So the next session is where you're going to learn about the requirements for each degree based on what degree it is that you're pursuing. And then we're going to help you plan a program of study to get those requirements done by the end of your 13th year, which is May of 2022. So the educational development plan you're going to get as a PDF, and it's something that you can just type your answers in. And I'm going to actually just pop over to the email where I'm kind of explaining all of this. Okay, so this is the EDP form that you're going to get, and it's going to be attached to your email, and it's called BWMC EDP form. So the Educational Development Plan, EDP, is basically, that's how you're telling us what you want to do, what ideas you have in mind. And we use it a lot in helping you figure out what degrees you should be doing here and what classes you should be taking. But the state is also requiring that every school has one of these on file for every single student. So those of you that attend the partner high schools, when you're doing career cruising, you're actually completing an educational development plan. For us, we just have you do it as a worksheet because it really, all we need to know is just kind of what are your thoughts and plans. So this is pretty self-explanatory, but you would type in your name, and you can tab from piece to piece if you need to, or from section to section. So grade, you're in 11, and for your email, I want you to include whatever email it is that you check the most regularly, even if that's not your SE4 email, because I'm going to start including that when I'm sending you super important stuff. But for the most part, everything's going to go to your SE4 email. So that's something like, let's see, so if it would be your first initial, last name, and that is at student.se4.edu. So actually, if you could include both, that would be even better. So then you're going to put some careers that you're thinking about. So teacher, advisor, travel writer, I don't know what else, sports trainer, or physical therapist. That's a popular one. So you would just start typing in some ideas. We want to have at least 3 from you, but as many as you are thinking about would be great. And then you're going to list what schools you're interested in. So that would be where you want to go after SE4. So let's say I'm thinking about MSU, Western, and Grand Valley. The Michigan Career Pathway recommendations. So this is where you're going to match what careers you're thinking about and choose kind of these like official career pathways that the state has made up. So those are listed here in this presentation. So this was just kind of reiterating that part. That's obviously pretty self-explanatory. But this is where you would need to take whatever career it is that you're thinking about doing and figure out which of these 6 career pathways that falls under. So Arts and communications would be anything art related. AV, technology and communications, that's not really, not really a huge industry, but anything like public relations. I can't even really think of any other examples, but let's see. Then there would be business, would be anything relating to business. So management, finance, hospitality, tourism, IT. So even if you're kind of thinking a computer path, IT is going to fall under this business management, marketing and technology, marketing, sales, customer service, retail, anything like that will fall under that. The engineering, manufacturing, and industrial technology would be something like architecture, construction, manufacturing, anything science related, technology related that's not like to be an IT guy and help somebody fix their computer, but things more like computer programming or game design is a big one that people want to do. Anything engineering or math related, or transportation, distribution, and logistics, which is actually the type of business that I did, but that would be listed under there. So that could be, you could maybe put both of those if you're thinking one of these. Health sciences are pretty self-explanatory, anything in the medical field, but also anything, if you're thinking veterinary sciences, that would still fall under health sciences, even though it would be animals. Human services would be things like education, law, public safety, and security, so anything criminal justice related, or if you were to be a lawyer, anything in the government or public services. And then the last one, natural resources and agri-science, is pretty limited towards agriculture and food and natural resources. But so natural resources could be, if you were thinking about being a geologist or something like that, then that would fall under that. And so then once you fill those in, the back of that sheet, or the second page, is asking the level of education required. So this is it a bachelor's degree that you need? And I think almost all the stuff that I said was. Your learning style is, we're just kind of curious what you think it is, visual, auditory, or tactile. So visual would be that you learn by hearing. Visual is that you learn by seeing or reading. Auditory is that you learn by hearing. And tactile means you learn by doing or touching. Career planning activities. You are doing some right now by, this is a success session. Your college success class is something that counts for that. Meeting with BWMC and SE4 advisors. If you go on any college visits, job shadowing are good options. And you may have other activities that you've been doing that we're not even thinking of. And then these last things are pretty unique to you. So this is just up to you to fill in. What are your career and life goals? What extracurricular activities have you been doing or are you going to do? What are your hobbies and interests? And what are your skills and abilities? And then you're going to click that box to sign electronically, because I don't even think it'll let you fill in your signature. Yep. So you'll check that, and then you are going to put your initials here, and you are still going to date it. So you would just put in the date here. And how I want you to save this is as EDP and your last name. So you're going to save as, and let's see, I have it in this folder, but you can put it wherever you're going to put it, maybe the document cloud or however you're going to save, wherever you're going to save it. And I want you to name it EDP and your last name. So EDP Weimer, save it, and then send it to me like that, please. All right, so once you get that in, that is basically going to help us help you figure out your plan and what you want to be doing here at SE4 to get you to your planned career. Now, if you have no idea what you want to do, that is okay. We're also going to kind of talk about that at the next success session, where we kind of break into groups and do this planning. But the main thing is I'm just going to kind of go through a few of the SE4 degrees and talk about kind of what you should do depending on kind of what your plans are. So there are two types of degrees of SE4. They're either applied degrees, and they fall under the applied arts and science degrees, or they are transfer degrees. So I will show you another one of these attachments that I have on this homework email is the list of the SE4 student degrees and programs. So the transfer programs and the applied programs are all listed here on this sheet, and then this link brings you to a page where you can kind of explore, and I think I have that saved. I do. No, I don't. So that was tinyurl. Well, let's just copy it. Okay, so if you put that link in, it'll bring you eventually to the online course catalog on se4.edu, and it's going to show you how to get, it's going to show you all of the degrees. That's not working. Okay, so I had to find a different site because actually the online course catalog for SE4 is not working right now, and I don't know if it's just I don't have good internet connection, but that tiny URL with the SE4 degrees here, SE4 degrees for 2019, is going to bring you to a page that's going to be similar to this, where the degrees are going to be listed here, and you can kind of click on them to see what you want to do. So you can click on it, you can read a little bit about the degree, and it's just kind of giving you some general information, but then it's going to give you the complete list of classes that are required to finish that degree. So this is actually from the course catalog, so I think that's probably not going to work either, but if you click around there, it should be working much better for you. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason, I think it's just my Wi-Fi connection isn't very good. So if you go to that link, you can kind of click around and explore. So the list here, these transfer programs, the Associate of Science, Arts, and Business Transfer, these are the transfer degrees. So they have required courses, but they're not as specific. You have kind of some groups of courses you can choose from, so there's a lot of flexibility in it. These courses generally transfer a little bit better, and then you're just kind of clicking off or finishing general education requirements that four-year schools are going to want you to show up with. So these other degrees, the ones that are all specific, like accounting, business general, CIS networking, these ones are very specific, and they are meant to be specific to get you ready for one particular career. It would be if you were thinking, I just want to get my 2-year degree and I want to start work right away. So in that case, classes don't transfer as well to 4-year schools. So if you're thinking that you want to pursue something where you need a bachelor's degree, then one of these probably isn't going to be the best way to go. So that's kind of what we want this next session to help you figure out. And then these are, I would say, unless you know for sure that you want to do something that's on this bottom half of the list, then you should stick to one of the science, arts, or business transfer. And then even if you do, say you want to do graphic design or something, we still should talk about it, and that's basically what we're going to talk about at the next success session. So those are the different degrees that are available. The Associate of Science is so I'm kind of just going to explain the difference between the science and the arts and the business transfer. So the Associate of Science is kind of maybe the hardest one to get. This is for somebody that is planning to go get a bachelor's degree in something that's going to be math related, science related, either biological or physical science. So think people that are thinking about anything medical, engineering, physical therapy, occupational therapy, vet med, and then anything that's really specifically science. this degree does complete the Michigan Transfer Agreement, and so that's the main thing, is that if you are going to apply for a 4-year school, that's something that's really valuable to complete, and we'll kind of go through what that is at the next session. The other option, that's the real general degree, it would be the Associate of Arts. So this is pretty much, if you're not thinking about one of these, then everyone else will do this. You could even still do this if you were thinking a business degree or a business career, but anything that's a little bit more social science, humanities, so these like anthropology, criminal justice, you can do this and not have to do the specific criminal justice degree. Political science, pre-law, education, if you want to go be a teacher, graphic design can still do this degree rather than the specific applied graphic design degree. So this is a good general one that can still kind of keep a lot of options open. So if you are on the flip side of that, where you have no idea what you want to do at all, then I would recommend that you just do the arts degree, and you're just kind of going to work through the general requirements for the next couple of years, and this would give you some more time to decide what you want to do. The last kind of general transfer degree is the business transfer. So this is going to be something where you will just get sort of a couple of business classes out of the way. With this degree, the requirements are actually very minimal. And so what I would recommend usually is that people do the business transfer degree and then also complete the Michigan Transfer Agreement. And then there are some schools that have bachelor's degree programs that they kind of have set up to take a lot of credit from SE4. So if you're thinking about a career in business, this is probably the way to go. And we'll go through that a little bit more detailed at the next session. Okay, so if you're thinking about any of those SE4 degrees that are the applied degrees, those ones that were listed down below, let's see, where did I put that? So if you're thinking any of these, those are applied degrees, and that's where you want to do a little exploring here, and probably come and talk to one of us. At the very least, start with me. And just in general, with any of the degrees that you're thinking about, if you're not sure what you should be doing, just give me an email. But that's going to be a big part of what the next session is. One of the applied degrees that a lot of people are really interested in is the nursing degree. And there is a specific session for the next success session, like these breakouts that I'm going to explain in a second. If you are thinking about doing a nursing career, I would recommend coming to the nursing session, but because SE4 does have a program where students can apply in 12th grade, and you can actually begin the nursing program in your 13th year. It's a really competitive program though, so it's not just guaranteed that you're going to get in. And there's a bunch of prerequisites that you would want to be doing this year and next year. So it does require a little bit more planning, but it's actually a really easy list of prerequisites. Well, the classes are not easy, but choosing what classes is very easy because it's just specified for you. So if you're thinking about nursing, try to go to that program. Okay, so this section where it's read through the handouts and decide which session is best for your career goal and your schedule. So this is where these other attachments that you had, which was, let's see, this breakout degree planning breakout sessions. So this is where we want you to read through these options and figure out, okay, so which one do I want to go to? So we have them broken down by the degree. So associate in science. So if you're thinking, I want to do something medical, you would want to come to one of these options that's an associate of science with a career focus in medical or physical therapy. So we have it kind of broken down. The applied degrees, we have some options where no matter what applied degree, you can come to this session. But then we have a lot that are specific to these kind of popular careers that we're seeing. So if you're interested in a business career but really have no idea how to get there, or which kind or what type of business you want to be doing, that's exactly what we're going to cover at these sessions. So there's going to be a breakout for a business career, breakouts for nursing, criminal justice. if you're thinking about any of these applied engineering degrees like mechatronics, engineering, graphics, electronics, welding, or if you're thinking about any of the computer programs or just a career in computers, these would be the sessions that you want to come to. So you would just read through this. Now, even if you were thinking, well, I want to major in engineering, but I can't come to this particular class or to this session time, you can come to any of these like general science ones instead. So we still kept it so that there are Friday options no matter what you're going to do. It's just there's some more options sprinkled through the week, and then there's more kind of a breakdown based on what it is that you want to do. So we want you to choose one of these sessions based on the degree that you're pursuing. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this tiny URL. This is a Google form that is going to look like, this isn't going to kick me off of everything. Okay, so this is the Google form. It'll bring you here, and you're going to just enter in your information. So your first name, last name, your cell phone number, SC4 email, personal email. We're going to keep trying to collect these until we feel like we've got everyone's contact information. And so this is where you can type as much or as little as you have here. So if you want to say, I have no idea, that is fine. Or if you want to say, I want to be a lawyer. Or if you want to type me a whole paragraph and a whole bunch of ideas, you can do that. So let's just use the lawyer example. So if I want to be a lawyer, if you recall from what we just looked at, I know that I need to do the Associate in Arts. But I'm also kind of interested in criminal justice because that is another path that you can take to get there. So I'm going to select, you can select as many as you want really for the degrees, but usually just one would be the most relevant. Now here is where you're going to select which session you're going to come to. So if you scroll down, I know for sure I want to come to this criminal justice and law careers because I'm thinking about that. So I would select that one. And then we're going to ask you for your second choice. So if that one fills up by the time that you try to sign up, then what do you want to do? So then you can say, really, I can just come to any of the arts ones. So I'll come to, I'm going to come to that first Friday one. And then you would hit submit. Now I didn't enter anything else, so I'm not going to actually submit that, but that would be how you would do that. There's also the other attachment that I had is just kind of a breakdown of, let's see, a breakdown of all of the sessions by day. So if you would rather look at that and say, well, I'm free on Tuesday, Thursday afternoons, which one of these will apply to me? So you can kind of see what the offerings are based on the day and the time. So that will be there on this email that you're going to get to. So after you read through everything and decide which session you want to do, you're going to go complete the Google form. It says by Friday, September 20th. I have extended the deadline until that following Monday for those of you that were not at the session. You're going to complete that and then keep an eye on your SC4 email. That's where I'm going to confirm which session you're going to attend, where it's going to be. Locations could change, so just pay very close attention to the email. Just in general, you need to be kind of paying attention to what you're doing and really reading through things carefully. And when you attend that session, if you want to be able to look at the course catalog or anything online, bring your Chromebook with you, but at the very least bring something to write with and something to write on. And that is it for the presentation. I'm just going to kind of go through. You're going to get an email that's going to also have this as an attachment, but this is all the directions for everything that you need to do to complete this homework. So this is all due. I want everything back by Monday, September 23rd. And I'm going to be copying parents on this, but you have to do that. You just have to get it in and be done with it, because it takes a lot of planning on our part to get all these sessions planned out. So you're going to watch the video summary, which is what I'm doing right now. You're going to answer these questions. So there's a question about the grade calculations, those 3 questions about the differences between high school and college. You're going to describe how to get to the tutoring schedule, which I just showed you in the video, and you're going to list a couple of important dates coming up. So those questions are usually just so that we know that you've watched the video and you've gotten the information. So what you're going to do is reply to my email with your questions answered here, okay? Then for step 3, you're going to complete the EDP, and there's a section of this video that explains how to do that. You're going to save it, and you can send that back to me either as a separate attachment, or you can attach it when you email your homework responses from step 2. Step 4 is going to be where you're going to go and actually sign up for whatever breakout session that you want to come to. So this is just kind of another description of what I just went through on the video. But it's really important, and it's actually required. There is not going to be a video summary for the next 2 sessions. You have to go to one of those in person, and you may be starting to realize that it might have been worth it just to come in person, other than having, because you're watching at least a 46-minute video at this point. It'll probably be close to an hour, and then you still have some homework to do, where all of that could have been done in the hour and a half if you just came to the session to begin with. So it's really important. You need to request these Fridays off of work. We give you the schedule. Let's see, it's going to be in the email in case you don't still have it. But this is our schedule. So this is the one that you missed. This is the one we're planning for right now. And then the third one, you have 3 this semester. So it's 3 Fridays where you have to request that off and figure out a way to get here, because it's really important. And I know some of you are driving from far away, but there's no reason that you can't come here and get this information, because this is the stuff that your 13th year, you're going to be in our office crying that you didn't get the stuff figured out, or that you didn't plan correctly, or you're not going to finish on time. So I know that we say that a lot, but it really is super important. Okay, so the other thing there, you're going to choose your breakout for step 4, and then this final step is to actually come to that breakout session that you choose, and then actually come to success session number 3 in person. So the breakout session, again, is the one that's, let's see, how did I clicked out of your homework, or the success session schedule already, I think. Oh, no, here it is. So session 2, this is the breakout session. Session 3, you have to come one of these Fridays. So come to one of those and you'll be all good. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Again, this is Ms. Weimer. This is my email address, and this is my phone number here. So call or email me if you have questions. Otherwise, get that homework in by Monday, September 23rd. And we'll see you next up at that breakout session. Thank you so much.